you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hearer of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
And I learned a trick in my studies of people.
Okay.
I might not understand the word that you saying,
Right.
but I understand the context in what you're using the word. So I sit and I listen.
That's it.
I understand the context of what you're saying. That's because I understand your language. If your language is against me, if it's evil, if it's racist, I understand that context of that language. So I can understand what you're saying. Now, if you hit a word that I really don't understand, I'm not afraid.
Right.
And I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed to say, wait, I understand that word you use. What did you say? And our people need not to be embarrassed. I learned a long time ago, your embarrassment can lead you astray.
Yeah, that's true.
Forget about being embarrassed. If I'm not fully equipped in education, in language, and I'm talking to someone of the elite government or Caucasian or elite educational department or whatever, and they have had rulership over me and my people, I'm not gonna be ashamed.
That's
because it's not my fault, it's your fault and your forefathers' fault that we don't speak the same language.
Right.
Because you took power over our people.
Right.
So if there's anything I'm lacking, it's because of your people. So I'm not gonna be ashamed to say, hey, no, explain that to me. And by the same token, many times I've had people come to me of religion, especially Islam. You know what they do in Islam.
Right.
Well, brother, I want to say Kayf Alaki and
half English,
half English and half Arabic.
Yeah.
You know, so wait a minute. Say that in English.
Right.
You know, I make them say it in English. If we having a conversation, if it's just passing by, I know some of the things they say, hey, I'm all right, brother, okay, I'm gone. A lot of times when I answer in English, they stop and look.
Right.
You understand? But the thing about it is, why try to take a man down if you mean him well?
Right.
Why not speak what you know he understand? And why try to grab something foreign and put it into your heart where it don't belong? The only reason we should seek to understand another language if we need to communicate that other language.
Right.
I've always wanted to learn how to speak Spanish because I grew up around Spanish people, Puerto Ricans and other Spanish people, which I learned from a dear friend, a friendly person of mine, that they're not really called Hispanics. They don't call themselves Hispanics. That's something that we made up. The Americans made up.
Another play on language.
Another play on language. You know, I mean, I didn't get into a deep conversation with this brother about it, but he informed me about that. And I said, wow, you know.
Part of the process that we see now is the old saying, he who had the gold makes the rules. Many Caucasian Americans that in the ruling class, in the gin, in the hidden secret government, they're the one that put out policies and plans to keep people enslaved regardless of nationality or color, because we want to keep you
today definitely it don't even matter what color nationality. They enslave their own people because their power base is getting small, and they got so many people, and they got so many people out in the rural areas of America, of their own, of their own race, that you would not believe how poor and trifling and how low down that they have caused them to be, man. And then their languages of hate, and so many of them are like the Ku Klux Klan, those kinds of people, they think that we're responsible. They teach their people, their children, that we're responsible for the loss of jobs, for the impurities of America, and so forth and so on. Their language is a language of hatred.
Lord, you were talking about the slave ancestors. Once they weren't the slave ancestors once under even threat of punishment for even trying to learn to read.
Yes, they was under the threat. They're not only under the threat, they got whipped and killed and hung and tarred and feathered and a whole bunch of other things for speaking the language. or being caught reading. But you was trying to make a point where I cut you off. I didn't mean to do that.
No, it was okay. No, because looking back, we were talking about when you brought the information about, for example, the old term. I hear many people say ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
and they coin that phrase,
and they don't even know
what it means. Yeah. When I explained to it that what ignorant means to ignore something.
Yes.
And many of the words that we use today that I didn't realize till I either brought it forth
and
through
it
you
makes sense too.
and reading the dictionary that many words that we use are compound words.
Compound words.
The reality, like you said.
Yeah.
The real of the itty.
Yes.
Put it together, the reality.
Right.
Or like you use the term, I thought brick house was a compound, things like that. But I didn't realize cognizant, remembrance are compound words that people say all the time. Think they understand what the meaning is, like you said, with this.
But they don't.
Don't understand. I either brought back remembrance to be rejoined back to something.
Yes.
Who ever thought putting that together with the truth that I either bring forth in the language and in the English language that people say, wait a minute, he really know what that word really means. And people in the know, in the powers that be, keep people, many class of people in that. You don't know, we keep you asleep, we keep you like that, and then it's all fine and good because we still can keep our power and authority over you.
I find that a lot of that can be from the common usage of language over time, how remembrance can no longer be compound, but look at one word.
One word, that's how I found it was.
Well,
that's what the problem was.
Well, you have to remember this. Be mindful of the fact that new dictionaries come out all the time. Why is it that new dictionaries come out? Because they create new words. See, if you use a word enough and they find that it's acceptable, they'll put it in the dictionary and then it become an established word, legal now. You know, so like they go and they make many nationalities make fun of the ghetto language. They call it the ghetto language, the ignorant language, whatever.
Right. But a term.
But the thing about it is that language is just as powerful as this broken English that we speak over here. And we don't even like the real English that they speak over in London.
Yeah. In England, right.
You know, we laugh at them.
And they laugh at us, though.
So funny. Of course they laugh at us.
Look at them speaking the broken.
Yeah, what are they speaking, you know? But the thing about it is we need to respect the language that the people speak in the ghettos and the heartlands of America and the rural areas. We need to respect them and not laugh. You need to listen because I had an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see some of my cousins down south.
Okay.
Down in Florida. Mm-hmm. And I made some statements that weren't acceptable to them. And I thought I was complimenting them. I did not know their language.
Okay.
And they became offended. Well, one guy in particular.
Okay.
And the more I tried to clean up what I said, the more I got deeper into the mess. And he was becoming angry and angry. Say, you hear what this northern cousin said, come down with that, come down here with that northern and
south thing.
He cursed and say that northern stuff, BS, you know?
That northern south thing now.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, wait, I learned all this from my father and my uncles. Listen, cousin, I'm not trying to insult you, but okay, wait a minute. Let me step back. Okay, I confess. What I'm saying to you is 50 years behind.
Okay.
Because my father spoke to me when I was a child. Okay. And now I'm speaking to you in the manner that he spoke to me about you, my cousins here in this place down here. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm lost. I don't know what y'all saying, what to say, you know? And if you want me to be quiet, then I'll be quiet. No, you could talk. Well, everything I say is, a problem.
Right.
But I don't mean any harm. You see, so language, a mistaken of language can get you killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you could mean no harm, man, but it gets you killed.
Right. Many wars have been fought
over misunderstanding of language. And just like there's something, I think it might be in most African Americans, African and Native Americans. It may be those of the dark skin. Okay. But I have to confess, I know it's in me. It's something very strange. You could call me nigger all day. You can call me nigger 1,000 times in a day. But under the wrong conditions, a Caucasian, if he think nigger too loud to me,
right?
And I ain't even said, if he think it, something snaps in me. And I think that goes all the way back in my genes somewhere, in those unconscious genes in my brain, you know, because I know that is it was an insult coming from them, and it was a very mean and nasty thing that they were saying. But I understand, I've been taught that nigger actually is short for Negro. Negro. You understand? And a lot of people don't understand that them Southern Caucasians, their English language wasn't that good. It's not that good now. And when they were trying to say Negro, they were saying Niggero. And then they shortened it up to nigger. and because the Southern Caucasians were the ones expressing that language and in those tones, we came to hate it. And all they saying is Negro. But they shortened up Negro to nigger and left out the row.
It is funny,
you know, and this is the truth.
Oh yeah, it is funny because you mentioned that, because I have some friends that are of a Spanish background, and they said that the word in Spanish would be Negro for black.
For black. It's Negro.
And they say that all the time. I'm like, you know, but I don't think the figure that's the language. But if anybody else hearing
the thing about it is, you want Negro? And for Caucasian, say, oh, you Negro? Nigga. What you call me?
Exactly.
Because some of us want to be called black now. That's the language of yesterday. What is it today? Because I know when I was coming up, it went from Negro to colored to African American. No,
that's
to
black
to African American.
Now Ahezaah calls it not Afro-American.
Well, Ahezaah calls us Afro-Americans. And that's the staple as far as I'm concerned from here on in. But we've gone through these different changes. But I never liked black. Because I always had a problem with the black man and the white man. You understand? Because if I see a black man, I might run. If I see a white man, I'll be concerned. I'll be running. Black. Have you ever seen a black man?
Like
I've seen a man so black that he was blue. From chemicals, working in a chemical company. I seen a guy, he turned so black, but he turned blue and purple. His skin tone, I guess that was the chemicals. But we have seen some real black guys, and we have seen some real white guys. But you know, when you see white, almost white like teeth, it shakes you up. Like, well, what's wrong with that person? You know, now how many Caucasians really want to be white like that? They don't. Because if they did, they wouldn't be laying out on the beaches.
Trying to get some coloration.
Get some color.
And the same thing we talked about when Ahezaah gave you the information concerning Prophet Muhammad about the olive complected, and you made the little joke about, I don't know, olive come in two colors.
I've never seen the green man. Except the Hulk.
Think of Hulk.
And I don't think that Prophet Muhammad looked like Hulk.
No.
You know? But then the Hulk is significant. The television have a language of their own. You know, Hulk is green, and they say green with anger. You understand what I'm saying? But you know, even if people would take that, what you said, which is so important. And why is it important that we understand Prophet Muhammad was a dark-skinned man? It's important because we need to know the history of Arabia. Because so many of us coming out of there, we need to know the history of Europe, of England, and you know, Britain and Rome. We need to know them histories because we study them books, we study their philosophies, we study in our religions. We need to know their history and the people that, you know, like devised or brought them their languages and their cultures. You understand? Because most of our people today want to be somebody else because they have totally, as they say, whitewashed us, where we don't like ourselves anymore. You know, we don't like being black. We don't like being dark. For so many years, the cutest girls or the cutest guys were light skinned. You know?
That's true.
And you know, that's bad to have that mentality because that's furthest from the truth.
That's so true.
You know?
Would that be those behaviors, those attitudes, a product ultimately of language and how language has been played on with the people over time?
It's a product of the abusive language. It's the abusive, it's the abusive language, the abusive power. See, in language comes power.
Right, okay.
See, I've had guys who want to come and try to beat me physically. But because of my language, they got beat up mentally.
Right.
And they had to be sat down. You see, language is a powerful tool if you understand how to use it properly.
That's true.
You know?
Yes, sir.
You could save a world through language, through the proper language. Why you think they hire ministers and priests and imams and what have you? Those who are most charismatic, charismatic speakers who know how to flow their words in their language. Right. You know, some people's language is drama.
Right.
You know, and they be dramatic and they take a person and emotionally move them, and then them people think that they got the Holy Ghost or they become somewhat enlightened or the crisis touched them or what have you, when it's only their emotions being overwhelmed by what's already in them.
That's true.
You know, now if a person has been taught to use that emotional language to move people, to make people, you know, have inner upheavals for their own guilt.
Okay, all right.
Because most of these religions are supported by people's guilt.
Yeah, that's true.
They have guilt and they go on and they call them out and then they go in their pockets and they try to buy
their way.
They try to buy God.
So they
try to buy God with God.
Right.
The green God.
The green God.
So you see, and they put it on there, and God we trust. And they're the ones who put it there, they know that that's their God. In this God we trust, because they don't believe in no supreme being.
That touches on back to when you use the term nigger. It wasn't so much the white Southerner mispronouncing or pronouncing Negro in the way they knew how, but it was the spirit behind their relationship.
The intent behind it.
Well, actually, they were just, you know, those who even some still today. Oh boy, you wouldn't believe. But they were so mean-spirited, so hateful. And even if it wasn't their intent to do us harm in their language, which it wasn't so much so,
right?
It was just their manner of being that was connected with the language. I have a dog that was raised by Spanish people, Puerto Ricans. My dog knows 2 languages. It knows English and it knows Spanish. And an associate of mine came over and he started speaking to my dog in Spanish. And my dog looked up at him and wanted to attack him.
Okay.
Right? My dog was angry because the people who the dog came from was abusing him, and they abused him in Spanish. And they raised this dog for 5 years.
Okay.
No, I think it was 3 years. That dog understood Spanish.
Right.
And it didn't like my Puerto Rican friend. and my buddy learned not to ever speak Spanish to him again. Right. Because see, the dog, it didn't matter what he was saying to the dog. The fact of the matter, he was speaking the language of that dog's enemies.
Right.
And that dog was like, oh, I'm gonna eat you for speaking that language, because that reminded the dog. And that's the same thing with a Caucasian calling us nigger.
Right.
You know, it's just that language. It caused something to rise in us because of our history, because what's embedded in us from slavery, you know?
That goes in line with saying, too, that many times those Caucasians, the Southern ones that had slaves and everything, many times they were angry with many of the Afro-American, the blacks, because when they became educated, and many, don't get them confused, people think all Caucasian people are intelligent. Many of them are unlearned.
Oh yeah,
and they're offended because you think you're smart. So-and-so.
It's more of them unintelligent than us because I think it's 30 or 40 million African Americans in America, and then 234, 200 and some odd million Caucasians. So, you know, it got to be more of them uneducated.
You mentioned all the rural areas.
Yeah. We talking about the whole continent, the whole, And And the thing about it is they put their key people out. See, you go to Washington or you go on to the acting in the acting field, you know, if you look good, you handsome, you cute, you got that look, then they try to mold you. They pick people for the way they look. You understand? Same thing in politics. They pick them for the way they look and the way they sound. You know, if you got a presence with you, you know, it ain't about what you gonna do, because they know they all liars. You know, most of them are liars, and those who aren't, they get in there and they know, gosh, I got to lie to stay. I got to lie to live this life. You know, I can't tell all the people the truth.
And the top down, many of them, like for example, you see our so-called president for the day. If it weren't for his speech writers, because stuff he say off the cuff is that's really him speaking now. When you get the bloopers, that's him talking. That's really him. That's what's on his mind. And then listen to him, like his writers are probably on the side, on the wings, on the side, looking like, stick to the script. Don't start shooting off the cuff on your own.
You might have to lock him up for a few days before a speech. Keep him away from that mug.
Politics, the mastery of language, the mastery of the use of language, the play of language on the people.
The Lord Most High said politics, the meaning of the word politics is a polite calling. A polite calling of the devil. Because in politics, they call you to vote. They call for your opinion. They have hall meetings in all these cities, and they have state meetings. They have meetings that they show you on television and everything. And after all their meetings, whatever the people say, it don't matter. They're going to do what they want to do. But they politely called you to these meetings and act as though they're listening to you. They're going to do what the people call for. But they already got their plans about what they're going to do, and you're not going to change it. Now, we said everything is backwards. When you first came on, they said this republic is for the people, by the people. It was built or devised for the people, by the people. Yet and still, there are an elite government, an elite clan. They are people within a people.
Yeah.
You understand? The government people are not the same as the common people.
That's true.
When you in that family, you're in another case system of life.
That's true.
You understand? And as long as you don't get too blatant with your ill deeds, you're safe to do ill deeds and get away with it. You got power, you got clout, but they're so unjust in the things that they do, and the people sit back. The people who devise the government for the people, by the people, are being ruled by these people, and they can't change what they do. And they say, well, you got to wait and vote just your next man in.
Yeah.
We noticed we didn't say of the people, so it's not of the people anymore.
Oh, no. It's
of the people, but it's not really of the people anymore.
The government is totally different from the people. And see, something that Ahezaah gave us back in the 90s, when it was first sending down the Divine Book of Recitation, was that how this society is going to become like the people that they claim they hated, like the Nazis. You know, it says that soon enough you're gonna have cars that go over state lines and city lines of different things, man. I've seen signs of that, man, with them stopping public transportation and going to buses, seeing if you know who got what, who belongs, where you're going. If you don't have the right information, you know, they take you off the bus. They've given people on the buses power. You know, if you disagree with them, they could hit a button, call the police, and
they call
you understand? So, you know, it's like it's a lot of little things that they're doing where they're controlling you, and they are in your business, especially through the internet, especially through credit cards, especially through identification cards. They put in all types of things. Even your driver's license, they changing it up. Like you use your driver's license, they put in all kind of microfilm or microchips or whatever, where they could track you, man. You might have a driver's license they tracking you off, and they ain't gonna tell you about this for another 10, 15 years, 20 years that they've been doing it. Somebody gonna spill the beans, and you find out that you being tracked. You know, they track you by the food you buy. They track you by everything. Just like when I was a youngster with the shopping centers, food shopping centers.
Right.
If they want to give you something extra, they put it in the newspaper, and they have their little cutouts where coupons you go and you give them that, and you get your little extras. Now you have the the card.
Yes.
Right? The little
Price Club
card or whatever. Every time you put that in there, that information is going somewhere saying this is where you shop.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time you use one of those express cards, IDs to go through the highway, they tracking you. Easy pass. They tracking you wherever you go. Anytime you go somewhere and you use a credit card, whether it's in another state or whatever, they tracking you. And they tracking everybody.
Yeah, they have a term for that.
And then they tell the people who they supposedly is for, we're doing it for national security, for your security. You know, they're doing it for their own security. They consider themselves the nation.
That's right.
You see? And you are just the people. You understand? They want to keep you under control, and they want to make sure that they're protected. And that's why they had a military and paramilitary. Yeah. The paramilitary and police is the first line of government.
That's right.
But do they express that to the common people? No. How many people know that the police officers are the first line of government? Meaning they are the first defense of government. If anything goes wrong, they're going to put the police on you
first. That's true.
You know, if it gets out of hand even further, they're going to get the higher rank police. They're going to go from one rank to another till they get to the military. They get to the National Guards. And if that don't work, they will put their military on you. You know, and look what happened in Philadelphia not too long ago, some years back, when they blew up that large square area of people, man. They just bombed them up, you know?
That's so true.
You know, people that don't understand, you know, you got some people in the world who look at man as just a number.
Yeah.
You know, for them to take you off this planet early, to them is nothing. And they have no fear of the Lord Most High or any judgment because they don't believe in that. They by them following their language, being raised in their language, they come to believe that they are the God.
Yeah, that's so
that
true.
they are the power. And what Elijah Muhammad did with his language was flipped what they do.
Right.
And tell them the black man is God and the white man is the devil. When the black man can be a God and a devil too. Right. And the white man can be a God and a devil too. You understand what I'm saying? True. And you have people still trying to use that same thing in this new day and time, new millennium.
New world order, because that's what they call it.
Yeah, well, you got people who still run around here talking about the black man as God and still not educating the people in the higher language of the Lord Most High, don't want to receive the higher language of the Lord Most High, but the Lord's taking them out. Ahezaah said it's gonna destroy this world, and it's gonna take the people down. And you know what it told me? It said it's gonna start with my family first. It's gonna start with my family and spread out through the world. And I've seen demise inside my family. Right after it told me that, you know, and I see people who refuse me, people who've gone against me, who think that they are free and don't believe in the language I speak and don't believe in the message that I bring. I've seen Ahezaah take them down, you know, and then it tells me why it's taking them down, you know, and even if told me when it's going to take people down.
Well, that would be a trial that was probably on the family of every messenger that came along.
I would think so, because the ones who disbelieve you the most basically are generally your own family, because they know, like my family know that they look at me and say, well, that's Sam. That's Samuel.
Right, okay.
And then when I tell them, look, the Lord caused my father, dad to name me Samuel because I'm Samuel the resurrected. Just like the Lord caused Elijah's people to name him Elijah because he was Elijah of the book of Malachi that was spoken of there. So the Lord did us both the same, gave us the name at birth, you see. And my family, even though they witnessed me being saved by Allah through the language of Islam, they still dislike Islam. They still are haters of Islam. You understand? And even though Ahezaah has turned me away from the Muslims, which I never thought would happen, I never thought there'd come a day when I'd have to speak against Muslims. Because there once upon a time, I thought all Muslims loved Allah like I loved Allah. See, I was naive when I was young. Come to find out, they're devils and they're people just like everybody else being doers of evil. You know, and many of them don't love Allah. They love themselves and they love the gifts of Allah. They love what they can get from Allah. They want the prize and they don't want the work. But there's so much wisdom that come in righteous work. You know, Siddhartha Gautama has said, you know, in the Eightfold Path, it mentioned that the right occupation. If you get a right occupation, which is a righteous occupation, the righteous occupation for you. Right. And I'm not talking about any old job, some job you like, but right occupation, meaning occupying yourself with the righteous. If you have that and you work on that and in all the things that you do in life, in your work, you will gain wisdom. And I bear witness that as I go along doing my many things, because the Lord has made me very versatile, but it caused me to reflect upon it in everything I do, and it speaks to me, it shows me His beauty, His wisdom, you know, His power, is driving me, and I'm like, wow, look at what Allah does. Look at what the Lord Most High does. It's so beautiful, you know, and it just as I give off His message, I'm being taught.
Back to the better to give than receive.
It's better to give the more you receive. Thank you.
So true. And
that's understanding that language. Understanding what Jesus was talking about.
Exactly.
You know,
it's one thing that either give us all the time, and that you mentioned. You know, I'm gonna hold on to it right now. I hear the sound of the music calling. It's time. Someone's got to call you. This has been an Aha moment. We want to thank you for tuning in. We hope that you've been enlightened somewhere by the words of the Lord Most High through His messenger.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed?